What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I'm going to be giving my review predictions for Hitman 3. So that's right, I am back. I've done this a lot towards the second half of 2020, and I love doing it. They don't always do the best, and not everybody always likes these videos, but I have truly a ton of fun talking about it. Gives me a chance to kind of analyze some stuff on whether it be games or movies. So we're going to be talking about Hitman 3. Basically, how this goes is I discuss basically some of the reviews of the past games where, reviewers kind of landed, try to predict what sites, critics, are going to give this game, and also talk about what they may say. What are the kind of the biggest things we may see positive or negative on the game? A few things before I get started, not even just all promotion stuff, but number one, again, take all this stuff with, well, number one, a grain of salt, because it's just my opinion, but number two, I don't go based off critics. So if you guys are saying, because I know some people may say this, make the decision based off of yourself. I'm a big advocate of that. I think you guys should make your own, opinionated choices, right? Not necessarily listening to everybody. Also, Metacritic, which is normally what I try to predict, doesn't include most YouTubers that give them scores. I know a lot of people go to YouTube for impressions and stuff like that. I actually advise that way over going to like your local Kotaku, okay, or GameSpot. Some of the worst, by the way, websites in existence anyway. So as always, if you guys like this stuff, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you guys have the bell icon turned on. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, Podcast Now 15 is my Twitter handle. You can find the link for that in the description below. All right, so we have to go back in time here because we have to look at what these games have gotten in order to predict what this next game will get. So, Hitman 1, which was in 2016. Now, remember, Hitman 1 was episodic. They released episodes. Now, the reviews on Metacritic, I believe, are the entire thing put together. I don't think it's like an episode thing. And it got an 84, which is actually pretty darn good, based off of 40 critics, and it got a 7.8 user rating. Now, I'm not going to predict user ratings, but I do think that's generally important because Hitman 2, which came out in 2018, got an 82 on Metacritic, okay, based off of 70. So it got 2 points lower, but 30 more sites or outlets were included in the review. And it got an 8.3 based off of the user score. Now, not actually as many users reviewed this game, I believe, as the other game. And again, this game got 0.5, half a point higher in terms of user scores, Hitman 2 to Hitman 1. But again, the overall scores went lower. So here's the deal. Hitman 3, I really do think, is going to be the best one. So that's kind of like my bold prediction. I do think Hitman 3 is going to be the best of these three games. I think it probably will be received the best as well. The thing I've always said, and I think I even maybe said this in a video yesterday or the day before, is like the tragedy with these Hitman games is they just don't sell. They do sell. Like, people do play them. But in the grand scheme of things, even like IO Interactive has, expressed in the past how disappointment kind of and that these games don't do all that well. In fact, it's kind of a reason why, Hitman 3 trilogy, right? So it is a good time to end, right? Just kind of on its own. But I do think some of the things with like sales and stuff like that does have to do with it, where they're like, okay, we see an out, we're taking the out, we're going to do James Bond next and see if that works out for us. Again, not saying these games are bad, because they're not bad games at all. In fact, I love Hitman 1 and 2. Okay, I've played both of them. So Hitman 3, I do think has a lot of potential. I think it's going to do all the right things. I've really been impressed by everything that they've shown. Honestly, the VR is a big thing that I think can help this game. Now, I don't know how much that'll make its way into reviews. However, maybe I should take that back immediately, because you look at a game like Star Wars Squadrons. Now, Star Wars Squadrons was kind of a average, like somewhere in that average to like good range, right? I enjoyed it. It got very, very stale very, very fast, and I haven't played it in quite a while. But one of the things that I think elevated that game, not just in terms of like enjoyment, because in fact, I didn't even do it, sadly enough, was VR support just in general. You could play this game in VR, and you saw that reflected in a lot of review scores, where it's like, this is the game to play if you have a VR. This is a classic example of a game that you break out the VR for. Now, I have a PSVR. I'm hopefully planning on playing this game. I won't live stream in VR. That would just be way too convoluted and difficult. But I do plan on playing this game in VR, at least just a little, just to kind of see how it is, right? Like, does it actually hold up? I'm looking forward to it. I really, really am. I think it's going to be really good. So I will say, and I will keep it on the even, because I like how it's been even. Hitman 1 was 84. Hitman 2 was 82. I'm not going to break that. I'm not going to be just a punk, okay? I'm going to do 86. I'm going to say this game is going to get an 86. Now, well, actually, I'm allowed to give myself a range. So I'll do 8.5 to 8.7. I'll actually constrict myself. Normally, I give myself like an extra point to work with. I'll give myself only 3 points. So it's either going to get 85, 86, or 87. That's coming straight from me, Alex, a podcast. Now you can tell them that I said that, okay? I I really do. I think this game is going to be well received. I don't think it's going to get into the 90s. I don't think it's going to get into the high 70s. And I'll tell you why. I mean, this is I've talked about safe games before, games that you kind of like go in and you almost know what to expect. You know they're going to be like in some category. Like I went into Crash 4 thinking the game was going to be enormously safe, right? It was just going to be a good game. Maybe it wouldn't be the greatest game of all time, but like it wouldn't be bad. You know what I mean? Like we can kind of estimate where, even like Miles Morales, like who did anybody go into that game thinking he was going to get like a 5? No. Did anybody really go into that game thinking he was going to get unanimous 10s? I mean, I at least didn't. I know maybe some people did, but I didn't. Okay, I kind of expected it to get in the mid to high 8s. In fact, that's what I predicted of it. Okay, so this is another one of those examples. It's just a little bit lower, I would say, where Hitman 3 is going to be pretty, I would say, similar. And that's a positive and negative. And honestly, those are, by the way, when we talk about things that we can maybe see them say, like in articles, headlines, I could see this saying things like, it wraps it up, obviously, in like a really strong way, but it's like, it's more Hitman. In fact, when Hitman 2 came out, I'm pretty sure one of the main things I saw, at least, was that this is just more of Hitman 1. Again, the episodic thing didn't work for Hitman. In fact, they even acknowledged it after the fact that was probably a bad idea. But in reality, these 3 games have basically just been all episodes, right? It's kind of Hitman in general. The mechanics don't change too much. The graphics don't change too much. The scope of the first Hitman game, even though it was 4 years ago, or I guess it would be approaching 5, is actually quite large. And yes, they have gotten big, and they've talked about that, right? How like Hitman 3 is the biggest they've ever done, has the most people on screen that they've ever done, stuff like that. So it has expanded. But in general, I would say, and also, by the way, because you can play all 3 Hitman games in this game, it's kind of like a hub for all of them. These games really are all supposed to be kind of in one package. Like, you're supposed to just be able to pick it up and say, okay, I want to play this level from Hitman 1. Oh, no, I want to play this level from Hitman 3. No, I want to play this level from Hitman 2. And it kind of feels like natural, where you're not really, it's not all that different. You know what I mean? I think the strengths of these games kind of just come from the levels. How different is the level? How many scenarios are there that you can actually do, right? What's the difference between one level and the next? That's kind of what makes these games stand out. Kind of why I'm shocked that Hitman 2, I didn't know this. I didn't know Hitman 2 actually got a lower score. I would argue 2 things. Number 1, it was probably because more people reviewed it. But number 2, I'd probably just take a guess and say maybe it was too similar, like what they thought, what the reviewers thought, that it was maybe too similar to Hitman 1, but the levels were better. Because from everything that I saw, even when I played Hitman 2, I think the levels are much better in Hitman 2 than Hitman 1. Okay, that's just my opinion, and obviously that doesn't speak for everybody, but that's kind of what I'm thinking for Hitman 3, that it's going to be better just because it's new. It's probably going to be the best they've ever done at these levels and at allowing you to truly handle these scenarios in as many ways as possible. Okay, I think that's going to kind of give them points. But the thing that holds this game back, I would say, from being like in the 9s, and it could be, by the way, like it could get in the 9s. I'm sure reviewers will give it in the 9s. I'm saying like a net average probably will be lack of like true innovation, that this still feels like Hitman 2, which still felt like Hitman 1. You know what I mean? So that's probably the negative that I would predict that we'll kind of see over the next couple weeks when people start reviewing it. Again, this is all speculation. I'm not saying that I believe these things. I'm saying that this could be what other people say. All right? So let me know in the comments below, guys. What do you think? What do you think this game is going to get in terms of review score? Are you getting this game? Are you excited for it? Let me know. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. As I said in the beginning, if you guys want to follow my Twitter account, PodcastNow15 is my Twitter handle. Would love to have you guys following me over there. Thank you all so much for the support. Very much looking forward to Hitman 3. We'll be doing more videos of it over the next couple weeks, and then I will be playing the game day 1. I'll be covering it with loads of videos that entire week that it's out, okay? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you for all those videos.